things are going to happen. Change is going to happen. Things
Yeah.
are going to get disrupted, especially technologies come
Hmm.
and like people keep innovating. So we're going to continue to have new things that pop up like AI.
Yeah.
What am I going to do now that something is changing, right? Am I just going to uh, protest and complain?
How will this change benefit me? Or how will this change benefit the team, the organization, or whatever you're working through change?
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest pieces.
Welcome back to In Residence. I'm Keith.
And I'm Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Keith.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing swell. I have a
That's
question
good.
for you.
Yes.
When you woke up this morning
Mm-hmm.
and you saw snow on the ground in the middle of April,
Mm-hmm.
how did you feel and how did you respond?
Yeah. So I got up and I went out to get coffee. And I got about 3 steps in and I looked out onto our deck and paused. I literally just stopped in my tracks. And I looked at it and I'm like, no, no. And then I was like, well, it is Wisconsin in April. I should expect this.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I made coffee and I kept checking to see if it was going to melt quickly. But yeah, no, I definitely, I stopped and I was like, like, no, I don't, it was going to be spring and now it's snowy. So I think I was a little whiny.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I knew it was coming because I checked the forecast.
Okay.
So I saw snow in the forecast. I'm like, no. I'm like, come on. And it was like, I think everyone was sleeping. So I was like, really? It's going to snow tonight? Like, what? I'm like, okay. I'm like, so I had some warning. And so when I woke up and saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. It said it was going to snow. Like, I expected it. So I that is sticking with me where I had an expectation and it was met. And so it was like, oh yeah, fine. Like that's all there is to it. Whereas your expectation was, why would there be snow?
It's going to be spring tomorrow again.
Yeah, it's supposed to start
Might
warming
be
up again.
cold spring, but it's going to be spring.
Yeah, even though tennis was canceled this weekend for being too cold.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that was another. Actually, I guess that's another thing where the thing that's coming to mind with this, and that we were kind of both talking about a little bit, or like sending like messages back and forth, was like the change that's coming came up for me, and for me where it came up was I was really looking forward to tennis and getting to watch, and I've talked about that over the last year and a half or two, like since Child One started playing. It's
right.
like it's I really love the feeling of being in that sport environment, and you've noticed like my watch will alert me that my heart rate's too high.
Yeah, that's not good. I'm like, you had to calm down, Keith.
but I mean, to me, that's a signal of I'm excited and in a good way.
Right. Yeah.
But then we kind of woke up that day to, or maybe it was even before. It was like, oh, we're canceling tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so that was a change where I was like not excited and not happy. Whereas like snow, I was like, since I knew it was a possibility, like the news came to me and I wasn't that upset.
Yeah.
But this other news of this other change, I was kind of low and sad because I was like going to miss out on something. So I don't know. I just feel like there's something in that April snow metaphor, that comes with change or unexpected disruptions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is maybe a better way of putting it. It's like sometimes a disruption seems like you just roll with it and adjust, and other times it's like, all right, you throw a fit, like a little tantrum or something, like a kid, like a little toddler. So I don't know. That's what was on my mind. And when you said that you kind of had a reaction to the snow, I was like, okay, maybe this is one of those things where like, let's just take what Mother Nature's giving us and see like what we can tease out of it. And for me, it's the, how do I navigate whether a forecast plays out one way or another. And I'll stop trying to make the metaphor work. But the thing that came up while I was journaling this morning was, when a rainstorm comes, let's say, am I going to sing in the rain and appropriately because it's just a little bit of rain and it's not that scary? Or am I sometimes going to find myself trying to play through a round of golf when there's lightning because I want it? And it's not safe.
Oh, don't do that.
You know what I mean? So
sorry.
So that
don't do that.
In that sense,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like am I looking for shelter when I could be dancing in the rain and singing?
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's a little shower, I can still go enjoy myself? Or am I not aware enough to realize, like, there is a real risk here? Stop doing what you're doing, even though you want it.
Yeah.
Slow down and find shelter.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was like the strongest thing that just, I don't know why that came up, but I think it's something I needed to hear, and it came out on the page.
It reminds me of the book Who Moved My Cheese?
You've brought that up before, but I haven't read it. So what's it about?
So really, it's a metaphor related to change, and it's about mice, and like they each have little personalities. I can't remember who's who, and they go through this maze to find the cheese, and they know how to get the cheese because they go the same way through the maze to get the cheese. But one day, somebody moves the cheese. They all run to where it's supposed to be. It's not there. And some people, or some of the mice, are like, what on earth? What gives? And others are like, okay, let me adjust and start to try and figure out, is the cheese supposed to be here or is it somewhere else? And so it's kind of saying something is changing that you maybe don't expect, but what agency and what are you going to do to try and adjust and find the cheese?
Okay. Yeah, I remember you bringing this up before, but interesting. It's an old book?
Oh, I mean, I'm thinking, I know I read it in the early 2000s.
Oh, so old.
Well, no, but it's probably like 20, 25 years old.
Oh, no.
What? But I mean, the concept is good, though. It's a really quick read.
Yeah. Okay.
It is.
So is it like a professional development type book, or you can apply it to whether it's professional development or just your life, and what is it in a certain genre of books? Or
I think it was first written kind of as a business book, like business leadership.
Yeah. Okay.
And trying to help people name change and understand the power of being able to do something in reaction to change. So not just continuing to, that idea of keep doing the same thing.
Right. Like, this is how we always do it.
This is how we always do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so it's kind of saying, okay, so this might be how you always do it, but that's not always going to get you to where you want to go because the settings change, the context changes. And are you ready for it? Are you adaptable and ready to start shifting and thinking about where could we go?
So I can see how that book could be really helpful for like someone in your position where you're dealing with implementing processes and like reorganizations and stuff like in the workplace. And I for me, it's more of like, I'm thinking of the times when people are trying to move my cheese and trying to do things differently than I want to do, or because that's the way I've done it.
Right.
So I think that's really funny. And do we have a copy of that? Like,
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to go through it.
Yeah, I'll have to have you go through it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's good to kind of notice like when change is coming. And when I've been in different organizations, I know people are like, change management. It's really important to have change management. That means you manage the change, And so often I think we talk about it. We know it's important because we know change is constant, right? Like things are always evolving and shifting, and transitions can be really, really hard, right?
Yeah.
But this idea that change management is simply just communicating more, like saying a lot of time, sending lots of emails, right? Like doing all of those things. And maybe it does include some of that, but it's so much more than that. It's so much more. It's making me think this spring, I was I was fortunate enough to go through a training on change management, and I had some idea of what it was I had signed up for, but I was really, really impressed with this model. So it's from an organization. They're called Prosci, and they do change management across all different fields. One of the models they use around change management is called ADKAR. So it's ADKAR.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds kind of funky, right?
What is it?
Okay. Well, so it's a model that allows you to understand where people are at related to the change and adjusting your communication and your approach. So you are more likely to have people come along that change with you. So what they stand for, and I'll just talk very briefly. The first one, A, is for awareness. So are people aware that the change needs to occur? Why is this happening? Right? What's going on? But are they aware? The D in ADKAR is for desire. So now are they not just aware of why this change is happening, but do they want to change? Right? And that obviously takes a lot of time to get through A and D normally. And then the K is for knowledge. So that's when you might do trainings and things like that. A is for ability. So you're practicing the change or practicing the new thing. And then R is reinforcement. So making sure that you're giving feedback and getting feedback on how things are going, getting more just in time support. So say you're doing something like 80% of the way there, being able to have some more guidance and structure that like helps you with your ability, right? Solidify that. And so ADKAR is kind of an interesting model, and I've never thought about it that way before. And on a side note, I was reading another book for work. I was part of co-leading a book club on assessment of student learning. But in the book itself, it talks about change management models, and lo and behold, ADKAR is in there from Prosci.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is everywhere. ADKAR is everywhere, and it's something that if people are working through change, I think it could be a really great model because it helps you pinpoint where people are at in an organization or on a team with change, or even yourself, right? So it's one of those things where if you have the awareness and you have a desire to change, but you don't know how to do it, it's going to be hard to implement that change or to shift.
Right.
Right. Or if you have the awareness of why you need to change, like for an example, I know that I need to strengthen my hip muscle, like the muscles around my hip, right? To make sure I can help support my hip pain and alleviate that. But say I don't know how to do that, say I have a desire because I don't like hip pain, but I have no idea how I'm going to do that. That's where you might go to a physical therapist, right? Or you might do some of the exercise the doctor gives you. But say you have no desire to change and somebody's trying to be like, isn't this great? Here's all your information. It's not going to stick.
So how do you find desire if you don't have it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think part of it is you have to understand, how will this change benefit me? Or how will this change benefit the team, the organization, or whatever you're working through change?
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest pieces. At least I know when I'm trying to work through change, I need to know, well, if I'm going to change the way I'm doing something, how does this make my life better? How does this make my process better?
Yeah.
Right? Or how does this make the thing I believe in more likely to happen?
Yeah. In my readings, I've come across like one of the reasons that people make a decision or choose, one product or over the other, or one decision over the other, is convenience.
Yeah.
Like it could be, and cost, obviously. Like the rowing machine is at the gym versus in your basement. Sometimes that's the big difference.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So, yeah. But I think there's something there where there is a place to get stuck, and it can be really tricky to find desire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Knowledge is the next thing, and it's like, oh, well, maybe we give them knowledge first. And I'm like, well, I don't know if that's going to help, like you just said. And so that it sounds like the first one's awareness, right?
First one's awareness.
And then I think maybe your answer was understanding to maybe help desire along, is which kind of goes with awareness, but like understanding the overarching goal and how understanding that should hopefully light a little spark of desire to help you move along a little bit more.
Right. Well, I mean, here's another example, one that I've gone through. So I knew I was drinking too much caffeine. So I used to be, I don't even know how many cans of Diet Coke. I used to drink lots of Diet Coke. It must have been 6 a day.
Yeah, that's lightweight.
How many were you drinking a day?
At least 8.
8.
At least 8 cans.
Gosh,
but I usually had like 20-ounce bottles or whatever.
Yeah. Oh.
Or are they 20 ounces or 16? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either.
Probably 20. I don't buy them anymore. That's I'm glad I don't remember how big the bottles were, because I don't buy them anymore.
Yeah. Gosh, I loved like a Diet Cherry Coke. That was so good. Remember Diet Coke with lime? That was good too.
No, I was like DC original.
Yep. But I mean, we both used to drink a lot of Diet Coke. And I haven't drank Diet Coke it's since child 2 was born. So that's got to be 15 years or 16 years, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
That wasn't as hard for me, which sounds weird because I was having a lot of it. But I knew I needed to stop having caffeine when I was pregnant with child 2. Right. So I stopped drinking Diet Coke because of that. But what I did do when he was born, I replaced Diet Coke with coffee. Yeah, and I drank coffee like nobody's business. Morning, noon, evening. It didn't really impact my sleep, but I was probably a good 6 cup a day person of coffee.
That's so much.
I know, it's a lot of coffee.
I just said I would drink like at least 8 cans of Diet Coke, so like I should talk. But
yeah, for anyone that watches Twin Peaks, I had Dale Cooper. Like I definitely, Special Agent Cooper, I definitely had him. Well, I don't know if beat, but pretty on par with how much coffee he drinks.
Constantly have a cup of coffee with you. Yeah,
exactly. But so I replaced all of that Diet Coke with coffee, and just coffee straight up, nothing in it, no milk, no sugar, but just coffee. And I thought, gosh, that's not bad, right? It doesn't have the fake sugars. That part of the desire for me to move from Diet Coke was to remove that fake sugar. No judgment here, but that was something I was trying to get out of my system, especially when I was pregnant, the caffeine, trying to get that out. But I introduced that back in with 2 small children under the age of 2. I definitely told myself the story. I needed the caffeine to not live in a complete fog, sleepy fog.
Yeah.
But so I drank lots and lots of coffee until it must have been about 3 years ago. About 3 years ago. I knew that I should cut back on caffeine. Like I knew the whys behind cutting back on caffeine, but it didn't impact the desire that I had to cut back on caffeine. I just kept drinking coffee until I started getting like a little fluttering in my heart. So it felt like there was like a little butterfly in my heart, like some extra beats is what my dad would say.
Yeah.
And that freaked me out. That freaked me out. And so I decided, I'm like, okay, you're drinking 6 cups of caffeine a day. That certainly can't help. Let's just see what happens if you stop caffeine. That desire didn't come until I was like, okay, I knew everything. I knew why I should cut back on caffeine, but I didn't have the desire to actually change until I had those butterfly flutters. And then I stopped caffeine. It went away and I'm like, all right, this is good. Now let me figure out how can I go about my life where I can still have that ritual of coffee without the caffeine. But then I went into the knowledge of figuring out if I do this choice, then what does that look like? And where do I get really tasty decaffeinated flavor coffee? So then I moved from that desire part. but now it's just what I do. I guess what I'm trying to say is, as I was moving through that shift from knowing that I should cut back on caffeine just because of the principle, I know too much caffeine isn't good, I didn't really understand why, for me, it was beneficial. Like, I knew less caffeine would be beneficial to me theoretically, right? But I didn't know exactly and specifically how it was beneficial to me until I realized biologically my body was reacting in a way that I didn't want it to. And so that was very clear for me. That desire came to change because I realized that physiologically my body was doing something in reaction to the caffeine I'd no longer wanted.
Right.
I didn't want that to happen. And when that flutter wasn't there, I didn't have a reason to change other than people saying too much caffeine is bad. All right. Like, all right, mom, sorry, not my mom, but
yeah.
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 Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, so that kind of brings up for me something that I try not to do, which is wait for it to be painful to change.
Yeah.
Or to, but I think that's a human thing where we tend to wait for a painful signal before we initiate, a new plan.
Oh. Yeah,
Which,
enter my hip.
Yeah. Yeah. Or we tell ourselves a story that explains away the severity of something, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And at the same time, so like, say somebody's implementing a new plan that affects me in the workplace, or maybe you want to do something different around the house in the kitchen, let's say. Yep. And it's new to me, and I'm just like, my first reaction might be like, why do we have to make it different, And I guess the answer to not being so defensive or standoffish is to bring curiosity to it and be like I moved the coffee machine.
Oh, I did not like that.
You did not like that, and you were giving me grief for it. And
it seemed less efficient. But I understand why you did it.
I would have had to make it make sense. I would have had to make a lot of more changes that I wasn't really wanting to make, but I wanted to see with a little test, does the coffee maker make more sense on this side of the sink versus the side of the sink it's on? Yeah. And for a few reasons, it did make sense. Anyway, we're talking about coffee way too much.
Coffee is good to talk about, though.
Yeah. It's tricky dealing, whether you're the one trying to implement something that disrupts the flow, or you're on the receiving end of that disruption. It seems like a tricky thing to navigate unless you're willing to kind of pause and look for that awareness, and that where's the desire coming from, or why don't I have the desire?
Yep.
So then that curiosity and maybe leads to you seeking more knowledge. And then what are the next things? What were the next things in that?
Oh, the next things after desire is knowledge, and then ability. So even though you have the knowledge, you need to practice.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So it's kind of like practice makes permanent. And then the last one is reinforcement. All
right. Re-listen to those if you need to, and I'll try to make sure they're in the show notes. But that's an interesting framework, I guess. Yeah.
The one thing I appreciate about Prosci is it's very data driven. And so they have all the numbers and stats to back up why this model works and how to move teams. And so it's I think it's a fairly simple model and concept, but realizing that you can use it in personal things or different team environments, it can really be helpful. Just to know, where are you stuck and where do you need to attend more of your time to? I know we've all been part of efforts where change fails, right? Where something, I can't tell you how many times I've been like, I'm going to start my workout program and it's going to be this, right? I have the knowledge or the desire. I'm aware of why I need to do it. I have the desire to, And then my desire wanes when I realize that 5 in the morning is really, really early.
I feel like it brushes up against your ability or availability.
I want to talk a little bit about and shift a little bit, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have been going to a number of different conferences over the last month and a half. And so that means a lot of presentations and hearing a lot of great ideas and things people are doing. And the topic everywhere right now is AI.
Oh, the
right?
biggest disruptor on the planet now, right?
Right.
Everyone's talking about it.
Exactly. And this past week, I was at a state called meeting and we were talking about AI in almost every single session in some way of how we're leveraging it to analyze data, how to write code, how to, different things. And I was sitting there and go, gosh, I remember going to a conference, again, probably 20 years ago or so, talking about Facebook and how do you use Facebook? What is poking?
Yeah.
What are friends? And I mean, this was back in the day when Facebook wasn't open to everybody. It was only open to people that had a .edu account.
Yeah, on college campuses.
On college campuses. And I worked on a college campus. I was in grad school, at the time.
Yeah.
I had an account and I didn't quite know how to leverage it. And I remember going to that presentation and going, wow, this is so cutting edge and new, And I'm like, whoa, 20 years later, here I am. Facebook is something everyone I know is on, right? My family, my friends, colleagues. And then we're talking about AI, which is, I don't even think it's as similar to Facebook. Facebook definitely did change the landscape of what was MySpace. And I can't even remember what some of the other ones
were.
Friendster and all those pieces. But AI, like you said, is is the largest disruptor.
I mean, it's the biggest thing on everyone's mind right now, with it's like getting the internet all over again almost.
It is, isn't it?
I mean, you just sent me an article about it
right
again. And it's all I hear about, if I go on LinkedIn, it's all anyone is talking about is how it's disrupting or how they're trying to harness it or this and that. But for sure it's making changes.
It definitely is. And what I've noticed in these different sessions, there's always a group of people that feels like are very resistant. And I'm not saying that's good or bad, right? But there's a group that see the fear of that this is going to, especially in higher education, one of the largest conversations is around plagiarism and academic integrity. And how do we know students are using it to support their work and not do their work? So there's that camp. And then there's another camp that's really on the cutting edge of everything that they're doing and harnessing this. I went to one presentation and I was really excited about this. And I need to figure out how to set something up like this. But he had used Notebook LM, right? Do you know Notebook LM?
I know of it. Yeah.
Okay. He linked his calendar to it. And then he tied it to, he said, 100 different news sites and had it search all of his appointments for that week and that day and link any sort of news that was coming out and relevant to those appointments. So when he was going through his calendar, he had the relevant news and impacts that were coming from around the world for those topics that he could bring into those meetings with him. He said, I don't have time to read over 100 publications like the New York Times and BBC and all these things, but I can have Notebook LM do it, synthesize it, and pair it up with where I need to use it. I was blown away.
There's so much that you can embrace to help you force multiply your time and be more productive. And I want to embrace those types of things and use it as a tool. Just like in a workshop, we started using table saws instead of hand saws, and CNC now, and now it's 3D printing. So, I mean, disruption's going to happen.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can really do to stop it. And if you can get by without embracing it, good for you. But for the majority of people, the main thing that comes up for me when people are talking about the pros and cons are you're kind of going to get left behind if you don't take a little bit of time and maybe a little bit of money and invest in, like, it's $20 a month for places, and like you can just play around with it a little bit.
Yeah.
To get a little, like, it's getting curious again instead of allowing the fear that comes with change and the disruption. And I don't know, that's where I'm at with it. And I don't even, I could probably spend a lot more time using some of these models, and doing a lot more, and I'm not, so I feel a little guilt that I don't spend enough time doing it because I'm around people that really embrace it, and I'm like, oh, I'm behind, and then I'm like, well, these people are really behind because they don't even want to talk about it because they think it's the worst thing ever and it's going to ruin everything. And I get where that fear can come from because I don't, until recently, had a really hard time with change. It feels really recent anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why I always like belabor, like, okay, how do I get curious? How do I find a way to see a different perspective, this and that. Like, I think I'm surprised that I'm kind of like excited about AI and not seeing it as a threat like some people are.
Yeah, I think though, and maybe this isn't, you can tell me this isn't accurate. I do think that you always have been pretty focused on technology though, and interested in the new technology. Because there's, and I don't even know the models, but there's the early adopters, the mainstream adopters, and kind of the laggers, right?
Yeah.
I think there's probably more sophisticated way to say that.
Yeah.
But I think you've always been on that early adoption piece.
Not early. I'm like the second from the whatever that one's called, like
the bell curve.
The extreme people on the side that are like camping out for the iPhone. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I was never doing that, but I'm behind them a ways because I've always been interested in the technology, and probably interested because I never quite understood it. Like, I didn't.
Sure.
I'm in that generation between people that used to have to hand build their computers and people that have never installed a new hard drive in their computer. Like, I've put new hard drives in my computers, and I've done a few things and realized, like, with the power of the internet and YouTube and these things, that I can find out more information. I can find more knowledge.
Yeah.
That allows my desires to be fulfilled. Like fixing my computer on my own, or ordering the parts and putting in new RAM and stuff.
Yeah.
And it not working, and then realizing, I just need to like switch them around or something. And like, so the empowerment that comes from the knowledge, and then the fact that it's like this positive feedback loop of, maybe I wouldn't quite understand something right away, but then I would embrace a new computer, and then I wouldn't quite know how to use it, and then I would put time and effort into it, and have like these new tools that other people didn't have, like recording software, and other people had them, but people I knew didn't, and so maybe it's a little bit of the novelty, but also like that learner in me. I think that new technology kind of feeds that itch, but I guess maybe I'm just drawn to the what those tools can do for me, kind of thing, because we're really talking about, when we talk about technology, it's like, what can this new computer do for me, and
right.
But like, I don't know how to code, so that's, so like, when
it's kind of exciting, right?
Well, you can vibe code now. I'm joking. Like, that's the big buzzword now too.
It's like, I have no idea what you just said.
You get Claude or ChatGPT to code anything you want.
So that's what vibe coding is.
Going with the feels, like, oh, this is what I want you to do for me, do it, and I do, but I do understand there is so many security implications
Yes.
that go into when you're coding something, and are there backdoors and all these things. Like, so I do more reading about these things than like I don't know how to code. So like,
yeah,
I'm going to embrace what an AI can do for me, like for fun, and maybe then it would lead to like, oh, well, I could take this, and if I wanted to build an app, it's possible for me now.
Yeah.
10 years ago, to build an app, it would cost you tens of thousands of dollars probably, or have to know like how to do it and like sweat equity type stuff, you know. It's probably years. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I like technology.
Yes. You're like, to sum that up, I like technology. So you were saying before that you recommend, or you're encouraging people that they could always play with a tool, go seek it out. You know, sometimes they're $20 a month. But I will say,
free though too.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say, there is some benefit to paying because I think there's some more privacy pieces and different things, right?
Yeah, and there's I mean,
less limits.
It's more robust. It's
I also so I hear some people saying, "Oh, I have, you know, this level of access on this one, on this one, on that one." Like, gosh, it starts feeling like streaming services, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I use mostly ChatGPT. You use Perplexity.
Yep, Perplexity, because it has ChatGPT, it has Claude, has a few other ones that I can't even think of. I usually have it set to Claude for maybe as like when I'm using it as like a thought partner. I maybe use Claude, but other than that, I just have it set to use the best model. Like you use the best for what I'm asking you to do.
So Perplexity has a bunch of them together, right?
Yeah, and then and like, what is it still OpenAI? That's one.
That's one.
Gemini,
which is Google's.
Nope.
I use Copilot, which is Microsoft's. There's one that I heard about, and I haven't played with it, but somebody said they really like it, called Boodlebox, Boodle box.
Oh, was it Nano Banana? Is that
what is that?
Is it Nano Banana? That's like image generation.
Yeah,
I think it's
in Gemini.
It's in Gemini. Yeah, Google. So
yeah,
there's so many. You're right. It is like streaming services, and so that in itself can become overwhelming and put people off.
Yeah,
and so, I would definitely like start slow if you haven't, or if you're really into it, and like you said, like you have like access to like 6 or more, maybe do like a little audit for yourself.
You know, the way I started, and this is going to sound maybe silly. So I started with Claude. I started with the free version of Claude. I think because Seth Godin talked a lot about Claude, and that's why I started there. So the first thing I used it for was, I'm a gardener. Sometimes you have a volunteer that comes up, or a plant volunteer, like you just don't know what this plant is. You didn't plant it, but it's possible that it's not a weed, that it's kind of a cool plant, but it just transplanted itself there. And so what I would do is I would take a picture of it with Claude and say, what is this plant? It's in my garden. Should I keep it here? And it would say, oh, I think that is a certain kind of shrub, you know? And I'm like, oh, well, okay, that's okay to leave there. There was one plant that was kind of under our deck. And then it had these really pretty, it was really small. And it was like ground cover, these really pretty orange little flowers on it. And so I took a picture. I'm like, oh, I wonder what this is. I have no idea where it came from. And the thing came up and it said, oh, this is called jewel weed or something, or jewel something. It helps feed mice. And I'm like, nope. Yeah. And so you better believe I was tearing all of that out. I'm like, nope, we're not having that.
Yeah.
But it's helpful to be like, oh, that's what that is.
So since you did that, I learned that. And when I'm taking care of my mom's plants when she's out of town, I use it. I'll take a picture of like her peace lily, and I'm like, I can't tell if I'm overwatering it or underwatering it.
Oh yeah, that's a great thing to do.
Ask the AI, and it's like, it looks like it might have gotten a little too dry, and maybe then you overwatered it to compensate. And I'm like, that's exactly what I did.
It's really kind of amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. My tomato plants last year I had on the deck, and I put them out too early, so they got a little cold at night. And I took a picture. I'm like, what's wrong with my tomatoes? They're like, they are shocked because they've been out in the cold and they're too young to be in the cold yet. I'm like, that's exactly what I did. Just like you, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's right. I did that. So for AI, just playing with it. And if you don't know where to start with some of the free ones.
Yeah. Free versions of whatever's out there. Like they just have daily limits, and like the worst thing that happens is you run out of your limit and realize like, oh, I want to invest in this a little bit.
Yep. Be careful about what you put in there because most of them, not all of them, but most of them are using whatever you put in there to further build their models.
Yep. Assume it's not private.
Even
if they like, oh, you check this, it's private. It's probably not private.
Yeah. So just know that. Always be careful and protect yourself, right? Don't put personal identifiable information, no PII in there.
I'm thinking about, when we're like disrupted or things get hard, right?
Yeah.
Like when things change, they can feel hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if you have like a weather kit, like a rainy day kit that you use when you're facing something like that's throwing you off or making you resist or realizing like, oh, this change is coming. What am I going to do now that something is changing, right? Am I just going to protest and complain? And I might, and usually that's going to be with you. Right. So what I think of is like, okay, what's in my kit? Like, what are my tools? Who am I going to talk to? How am I going to navigate this? And at the same time, what I wanted to bring up too was reminding myself, because you said this, things are going to happen. Change is going to happen. Things are going to get disrupted, especially technologies come and like people keep innovating. So we're going to continue to have new things that pop up like AI.
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to have in my tool bag is like that curiosity that I talked about, and like an extension of that like may help me remember to do that is to tell myself like, okay, let's not be surprised when the weather changes because the weather's going to change.
Sure.
Kind of thing. And so I'm not quite sure what I do aside from take some time to pause and think about like, okay, if I'm resisting the change, why? And then I might come to you. Like you're my go-to person, obviously.
Yeah.
But like for me, that's a really big thing is like where do I go when I'm facing something that's hard or different and I'm having like feelings about it.
Right.
So do you have anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think I'm similar to you where I have a group of people, depending on what the change is, that I can talk with about it. So you're one of those people. I have some friends that I can talk to. I have an executive coach I talk to, right? If it's a work-related thing. I do a lot of journaling though, too.
We're bringing up journaling again.
I know, but
it's so helpful.
I think it is helpful.
I'm not pointing it out to like critique us. I'm saying like it comes up because it's helpful, and also like it's a little silly that we journal so much.
One thing that I like to do is go through kind of scenario,
like ruminating.
Not ruminating.
I'm joking.
It's
that's
not
me.
Ruminating. That's you. No, it's so I try and do like I'll work through if there's a change I'm anticipating around, say, a career shift. Like right now, that's not, but say that's one. In the past, what I've done is I've really thought about, okay, so what does that look like? I have different like decision-making rubrics that I use. So I can start imagining what would the future state be here? What would the future state be there?
That's like what we did when you made your last move.
Right.
In your job. Yeah.
Trying to really play out what might this look like and what does that mean to me? And how does that align with where I want to go from a goal standpoint? I'm trying to think if there's a change that isn't self-imposed. Because a lot of the change I'm thinking about are things that I choose to go after. Here's an example. I'm going back to a physical example. But right now I am of that age where I'm going through perimenopause, right?
Yeah.
And those are things that I don't necessarily have control over, right? So hot flashes and different things like that. The hot flashes are so annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 minute you're fine, the next minute you are just hot. But there's lots of things that come with perimenopause, right? Like brain fog and all those things. A couple things I do with that around that is I read a lot. I talk to people that might be going through similar things. And then I get really comfortable realizing that, okay, this change is different and this is just my reality right now. So, what do I need to do to be comfortable? Do I dress in layers? Do I have a fan with me? Right? Like, what are the things that I can do?
Finding what's in your control.
Right.
And giving yourself options.
Yes, because there's so many things that are in your control, but there's also things that are out of your control.
Yeah.
Right. Being able to really name and know the difference between those two can help you also work through anticipated change or current change, really.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me that it's been coming in and out of my head for probably a couple of years, but really more in the last few months is the kids getting older.
Yeah.
And how that is like so out of my control.
Yeah, it's true.
You know? And like letting it's like my identity is changing and it's not my doing.
Yeah.
Like
right.
I'm so much of who I am has been centered around being their dad. And so it's really weird. Getting a little emotional about it actually. Let me breathe. But yeah, it's like it's really a weird thing when it's not something you're choosing. You know, like you said, like I kind of forgot about that because I thought I was focusing really on a lot of things that were out of my control, but most of the time when things are changing, it really is like you or I are making a decision, you know? But yeah, when it comes to something that's like completely like, and the kids growing up isn't completely out of my control, you know, like I have a lot of influence on that.
Yeah.
But I've never experienced it before. And so that type of, I mean, I personally experienced growing up. I didn't experience the parenthood part of it. So
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
That's different.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the biggest thing that's been on my mind, you know, that and like we even referenced getting back on a workout plan. Like it's been a while since I brought that up and I need to hold myself accountable and like get after it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But yeah.
Me too.
you got plenty.
I was super excited last week. So I got a exercise bike, right? A stationary exercise bike, because that's a nice motion for my hips. So I'm excited to be able to do that more. And I've been doing that, but it came with the smallest seat possible. It was the hardest, smallest little seat. And I'm just like, this is not
upgrade. Yeah.
So I definitely spent some of my birthday dollars on a bigger comfort seat.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Which now when I use it, I'm like, this is fantastic. I still get all the benefits. My butt doesn't hurt when I'm done.
That's good.
Yeah, which I appreciate.
Always a plus.
Always a plus.
Yes.
Yes.
Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye.